How's it going, everybody? Matt Miramontes is back here again. Matt's Music Mind. 3 times a week. Let's get it. Talking about Sera, Seize the Light. La Sera. La Sera? L-A-S-E-R-A. Sera, they combine the darkness of breaking up and the elegance of pop punk. They take this very subtle crawl to the ocean breeze, but then they can really light it up with these highway-driven, fast-lane switching world of eloquence. There's so much to be said about a band that can really combine the darkness and the despair, but also the beauty of instrumentation together. Their music never becomes weighed down, and they really can balance that connectivity of despair and the connectivity of beauty as well. And they can be emotionally draining with their first opening track, Love That's Gone, but really they showcase this sense of shifting tides through the following track, Please Be My Third Eye, where they move from the very ocean breeze sensed, the very seasick instrumentation on Love That's Gone, to then, as I said, the fast lane switching, the highway moving patrol on Please Be My Third Eye. And there's a lot of grace behind Sera as they even have these chords that are ripping and these guitars that are blazing fast, or the percussion that is very vibrant. There's always this sense of instrumentation that continues to reoccur, and this sense of real grace and beauty behind their sound. Through the soundtrack of a, quote, lost drive-in movie classic, Sera relies heavily and describes heavily on how they can use the vocal performances and the written performances of Katie Goodman, and she kind of reflects on these golden standards of combining the vocal performances with the written performances and how the instrumentation can flood into each other. They can be very progressive and very elaborate in their soundscapes. They can also be very daunting and very depressive, and with their lyrical content especially. But Seize the Light really never becomes a stance of depressive sound, as their instrumentation at the time is always very poppy or very psychedelic or has a big focus on pop punk, where Sera is continually graceful at these moments and always reflects well through their sound that they are cheerful. And this is in other styles they adapt more of a cutting edge with these rushes of guitars and percussions that flow over the listener and take a sense of abrasiveness. And that's seen when Seize the Light reaches a midpoint with It's Over Now, where Sera is delightful in their sadness and they almost reflect in this emotional stress through their music. It's still easy on the ears though, and the listener still gets this well-roundedness behind them and this real sense of groove as the easily approachable instrumentation is still flowing over the listener, and these cascading instruments that really just allow the listener to step in and kind of see from their view. But other times Sera is this relentless heap of compilations of broken heartbeat influenced sounds with acoustic flurries and these clap focused percussion beats with I'm Alone. Seize the Light becomes this illumination behind that darkness though, and the ugliness of despair, and does wonders for the vivid and adventurous instrumentation. That's the best thing I could say about this, is the instrumentation is always something that was really super prevalent here and always managed to make the tracks what they are. The background or even the foreground guitars or the strings or the percussion was always something that I looked for to really lead the track and take the band into new directions. Especially with the cowboy claps that lead into Real Boy with these 50 doo-wop inspired guitars and the very barbershop quartet-esque vocals. The performance is easygoing, but it's graceful at the same time, and Goodman describes, Real Boy, I've got something to give away, and that's my heart. My heart is yours, won't you take my hand, I'm yours. It's really just very cheerful and it's very happy, and this is a track that really kind of shows a new love or a new interest. Then the track kind of segues into this high-tuned guitar solo of surf-heavy cascading, kind of flows into the final moments of Seize the Light. And that's really where the final moments are important, as how far we've come is really the most electrifying that Sera gets, and it almost becomes crushing at moments with the sound. It's very overwhelming at points, but Sera continues to kind of reel it back and showcase the sense of real genuine sound that I think is appreciated through their music. Especially on that kind of rebirth and the leads that Sera takes out of the picture frame, and then they move into listeners' hearts for just one last piece of beauty. And it's really this orange painted sky that is the final moments for Sera, and it's the final memories that I think that I had with the record. At least it's very beautiful in the way that they arranged it, and the instrumentation here is perfect. I think that Goodman's voice is always something that I really appreciated. I really think her voice fits very well with these instrumentals, but especially on the way that she can just manipulate her voice and then have these backing vocals as well that really just reflect, I think, so well into her sound. Sera Sees the Light is an album that I will constantly go back to for the way that it can manipulate the sound and the way that it can really reflect on this darkness, but also transpose and find the light in breakups and find the happiness within life. Matt's Music Mind, Sera Sees the Light. And thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday.